What is up, Big Blue Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bleed Blue Nightly Show. I'm Paul, joined by Jaden. What's up, buddy?
How are you doing? I'm having a good day.
Good day, man.
There's been a whole lot going on. I mean, I feel like I
Oh,
get on here every day and say like, "Oh, we have anything to talk about?" And then the next day, there's 3 commits.
it's been nice this week because, basketball's been a little short on news. Um, you know,
It's been a nice way to fill the gap until we get to the next Mark Pope experience.
yes, Saturday, which is going to it'll be nice to get basketball going. And then kind of, you've got the holidays and then we get into it for real. I think I saw something about SEC basketball. It's like 50-4 or some crazy thing in like the month of December. The SEC is just going to be an absolute bloodbath in conference play. It's going to be straight filthy.
Yeah, it's by far the best conference. Everyone was freaking. Did the SEC get a big win last night? I honestly didn't even check in on basketball last night.
Florida beat North Carolina.
No, well, I know about that, but yeah, Florida. Yeah, they're really good. I, I that if the coach would just have not gotten in trouble, he would not have been a bad hire for any job. But we'll see how that ends up going.
Is he gone still, or did he come back?
I don't know if they ever got rid of him.
No, I thought he got cleared, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't necessarily.
As far as I know, he's the coach. I mean, he's been the coach so far. That guy's real good.
Alabama went on the road to North Dakota and won by 7.
Yeah, that was they did like a Grant Nelson homecoming.
Marquette beat Butler by 10. UConn beat Xavier by
one of the North Dakota guys had 40 on Bama.
Yeah, Eagle staff.
Yeah.
UConn beat Xavier 94-89. Gonzaga beat Nichols 102-72. Oklahoma beat Michigan 87-86. That was a top 25 matchup. And Memphis edged Virginia 64-62. Memphis was down by 9 points at halftime and came back and won. So that was kind of the top 25 board last night.
It's definitely been a slow basketball week as we ramp up for another weekend. But there's a whole lot going on this weekend. I mean, with all the playoff games and NFL and stuff like that.
I was wondering. I was kind of debating, like, should we do a live watch along for the playoff games? I mean, I feel like we're gonna watch them anyway. Should we do it?
I won't be available Saturday until the Ohio State game. So,
how many games are Saturday? Are there 4 games Saturday, or are they Saturday and Sunday?
3 of them. Notre Dame, Indiana's tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Really?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh.
At 8. There's plenty of
I did
football.
not realize that. All right, let's see. Friday. Yep, Friday. So we got Friday, Saturday. I'm sorry?
John Summerall with none of his team plays Florida. Unless they all decided to stay, but for the game. But I don't.
When, tonight?
No, Tulane plays Florida tomorrow.
Oh.
Before the Indiana game.
All right, so Indiana Notre Dame plays tomorrow night. And then you've got SMU, Penn State, Clemson, Texas, and Tennessee, Ohio State. It could be fun to do. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll throw it in the in the chat. We'll see what happens.
The idea vault.
Yeah, I mean, if not this one, maybe for the next one. But it's the first time, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens.
Have you had any stark changes in your opinion? I think I'm currently on Indiana, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State for me currently.
Like, just irritating.
Joe said Friday 9 p.m. instead of Notre Dame, Indiana, we should do his varsity basketball game. I agree. I would, Joe. Tomorrow night is no bueno for me. But yeah, like I said, you had any differences in your opinion? Or you still had you had Indiana, you had SMU, right?
Who, me?
Yeah. I think I was talking about SMU.
No, I picked Indiana tomorrow.
Indiana.
I think I picked, pretty sure I picked Penn State. I'm not sold. I think you
I
and
mean,
I said that
we
that
can
was going to
change
be
it
one of
now if
those
you want
games
to.
where Indiana, um, like Indiana is going to, um, like Indiana is going, or not Indiana, SMU would be like one of the games where you think it's not going to be a good one, and they sneakily are up like 14-0 in the
Mhm.
first quarter or something because you just don't expect it.
Just a quick little noon game to get it started. Something weird's going to happen. Isn't it supposed to snow on Saturday and Friday? I think Notre Dame, Penn State, and Ohio State are all supposed to be in the snow, or at least in the freezing rain or something, which we need because all we've had is way too warm of weather for the entire football season. And if it took us till the playoffs to get everybody going to snow games, also regardless of snow or not, Penn State's doing a whiteout at noon, which is just going to look awesome. Um, and they still should make an exception to where they could wear the white jerseys when they do the whiteout. I understand that the other team gets to pick first and they get to pick white because they're the visitor, but I am tired of looking at Penn State wearing blue jerseys during the whiteout. It makes no sense to me. We've got to have some awareness here of what's going on. Something important must be happening today. Well, do you want to start with JJ
Anyway,
Hester?
sorry, people
Kind of
asking me silly
go in
ass
order.
questions that make me want to punch the wall. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Do you want to start with?
I'm
Do you want to do them
sorry.
in
I'm
order?
just going to go on a little bit of a rant just because I can't fucking stand stuff right now.
All right, I'm
Like,
gonna mute my mic.
yeah, like I'm sorry. I didn't put something on my personal Twitter today backing up one of my boys who has had his daughter called a slut who was born not that long ago, saying about stuff said about my wife, my kids, my address getting posted, and you go, have they really? I'm sorry. F all the way off. All the faceless little bitches out there that hide behind all your accounts. Here's my face. I'll send you the link. Come talk. You're cowards. Stop it. Sincerely. Like, stupid. You have no clue who we are. You just decided to judge and be asshats. You guys are little boys. You're cowards. You're not real men. Fuck off. That's what I have to say to that. Stupid. It's tired of this questioning. Tired of my wife having fucking nightmares about people breaking in because of my shit. Fucking stupid. Sorry, I'm done. I'm done with this stuff. I'm done with that stupidity. Like, it's ridiculous. Really. No, I just said it because it was fucking fun to say. Ass clowns. Anyway, that's my rant. I'm done. We can talk about transfers now.
Yeah, people saying stuff about families. You're
Just like
not a good
question
player.
it. What have they really? No, you're right. I just woke up today and I said, you know what? Like Rando did this, so it's open up about something. So let me just go and say this. Stupid.
Yeah.
Just can't stand it. Like people like,
At the
especially
end of
like want to hide behind a keyboard. Little cowards, man. Just
at the
so
end of the day,
stupid.
it's sports social media, and if you're taking it to families and things of that nature, you're taking it too deep. Delete the app.
I mean, it's
You're,
just like
it's
idiot. I mean, it's
too
just
too
idiocy.
much.
Like, you know, oh, let's like I laugh at some of the stuff like cancel this. And I'm like, do you think we get things like get to this stuff because like we just like people don't get to do the things we do if you lie. Like it's just like it's so dumb. Like you don't want to be a troll, be a troll. But like all it does is it makes anyway, we don't need to talk about this. I'm just gonna go off on a rant. I'm irritated about that, and I don't need to be talking about that stuff. But listen, I'm here. Here's my face. Here's Jaden's face. I'll send you the link. You can come on here and talk. Be a real man. If you got something to say to me, come say it. Put your face on it. Put your name on it. Don't be a coward. Don't hide behind an emoji account or a fake name or something. That's all I gotta
A
say.
quick one of those like Paul versus 20 faceless trolls, like one of those YouTube videos that you see. That would be a pretty good show
It
at like
would
a
it
summer
would be
show when
funny
nothing's
because it
going
would
on.
be my face with 20 of them on with 20 no faces. Like nobody wants to show their face. Just okay.
Well, we ain't gonna have a
Like
show.
a lot of the stuff is just dumb. Like you can tell, like they don't like. Anyway, I'm gonna go on a rant if I go about it, but I'm tired of like the dumb shit about like all like the ancillary stuff. Yeah, let's talk about commitments today. It felt like I mean, it was a crazy day, right? It was a little bit of like a big day that
Yeah.
happened. The transfer portal obviously went nuts. Wesley said, "Can we talk about what a disaster this portal haul is?" No, I don't think it's a disaster. I think the
Yeah, I'm not
fan
gonna call it a
base.
disaster.
I'm not going to call it a disaster at all. I actually think that this is a fairly good transfer portal. Look, when I think everyone's making a lot more about Calzada because of Murphy. Look, Murphy went to Oregon State, and I know some people might think so, but like Oregon State's not necessarily in the best position right now. Do they even have a conference with more than two teams right now?
A bunch of teams are moving to the Pac-12.
And I'm not bashing the kid, but I'm just saying, like, I think that we had a plan. I think that we've had a plan in terms of how we attack the transfer portal. And I think they've done a good job of it. I think they've hit a lot of home runs. I know you like almost all the guys we've brought in. Um, and I like where we're going with it. I don't think that this is a disaster of a transfer portal. Look, some people are negative because we went 4-8. I get it. You should be. It was not good enough. But to act like, I saw some page say something about, see, and look, I can call people out without saying who they are because I'm not trying, like, listen, you have an opinion. That's fine. I don't need to call you out. I'll just agree with it in hindsight. Said something about like I wouldn't come here if I was, this or that. Okay, like I guess that's fair, but like why are we bringing this to the players and stuff? Like it just doesn't do anything. Nathaniel said Adam Luckett made a good point today. Calzada is a good pickup if you have some studs around him, and he just doesn't see studs. I tend to agree, but big question: where's our left tackle? So, um, um,
Yeah, so I want to
I
talk about the
think.
Luckett. Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about the Luckett part. I was listening to 11 Personnel today, like honestly, like an hour ago before this started. And he was saying how he doesn't see the game changers. He doesn't see the star, and I don't disagree. I think I'm more hopeful that the stars are still coming, if that makes sense. Like, so JJ Hester committed, and he's a big and he's fast, but he's not really an X. Like he's not the physical kind of like Dane X or the Horatio Fields style of X. Like it's not that kind of player, which I thought they were going to go more for. But all the connections, I mean, Bush Hamden was his receivers coach at Missouri. He was teammates in the same recruiting class as Macklin. They were the top two receivers in Missouri's recruiting class that year. Um, LaDamian Washington was a quality control guy, director of player development. That's what he was at Missouri at that time. This feels like they could have got this guy as a backup to me. Like it makes me think that the X is still kind of is out there at some point. And if there's a Horatio Fields or the guy at Virginia, another version of that, then they're going to be okay at X. And I think Kendrick Law is perfect for the slot. And Bama has a history of guys being lost in the system and coming out of it and exploding. I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks for Louisville last year, like 2.5 times his yards and production, just because he wasn't playing with five other dudes that are just like him. You know what
So
I mean?
Wesley said if Kazada is a plan, that's a really really bad plan. Highlights from 5 years ago is it Dink Downs Stoops, which is drink owns Stoops, which is a fire. I don't know what drink is. Are you
He's
talking about because
Eli Eli Drinkwitz,
huh?
the Missouri coach. The Missouri
Are we
coach
talking
getting
about
Marcus Davis and Rod Hardy.
uh um did you talk is that because of Hardy?
Yeah, Hardy and Marquise Davis, the other
Yeah, but
recruit.
Hardy's not coming here because we're getting another back. Like Hardy's not coming here because we blew the recruiting. Hardy's coming here because we got another back. Like getting Dowdell's going to more than likely commit, and that's why that happened. I mean, I don't know when the next time we even play Missouri is going to be. I don't even know if it's going to be in the next cycle.
I'd say the next year, like not this year, not the upcoming season, but like 26. True Podcast says, "Do you think Law could be our superstar?" No, but it
I mean, I don't
fits.
actually. I think
It
he could
fits.
be. I mean, he's got it in him.
I mean, he could be, but I just don't. I don't see the like the route running. Like it's Tyreek Hill. like frame and things and speed and stuff, but it's not like Tyreek Hill's start stop route running, things like that. So he's like juiced up Barryon, if that makes sense. Um, the thing about Kendrick Law, he is a fantastic run blocker. He is running dudes over, and if you get him getting in motion, get him in jet sweeps. Like there's a play against Auburn, um, and he gets a jet sweep on 4th and 1 in the Iron Bowl, on like a fake tush push kind of thing. He gets right outside the tackle and darts upfield, north south immediately, over and over again. He gets north south as quickly as he can. It's like if Barryon was controlled by somebody with a controller, is kind of what Kendrick Law looks like. And I think that can be valuable. And the receivers on screens that Hamden loves to call, they love to call screens. The receivers so bad at blocking this year.
He's not a bad blocker.
Berrien, when they would kick it to Demi, Berrien trying to block on kick return was awful.
Not awful.
So Kendrick Law will at least fill that kind of role. Plus, I mean, he will be a stretch the field. They're gonna take a couple shots to him a game,
Look,
deep
I
crossers.
like
He's gonna run away from people.
I don't dislike Hester. He's had injuries. Here's the thing. Hester, if he stays healthy, I think could have a really big year. He's 6'4", really fast. I think he's got a lot in him, right? I think that there's a whole lot behind him in that. I think if you look at our wide receiving core as a unit, I like the unit, right? It's got speed, it's got height, it's got explosiveness, it's got guys that have good hands. Now, can it not be good? I mean, sure, like you never know. It's got to gel and it's got to move. But if Law, and like I know that 247 put out a prediction, we've not seen a commitment yet. But if Law is the guy, I like that pickup. I think Law is a really good. Also, I think you're also bringing in a high character guy. Like you're seeing this, right?
Mhm.
Right? I know people are also, may not like the Calzada move, but at the same time, you're bringing in a guy who's going to work really hard. He's got a chip on his shoulder. The one thing he's not going to do is be lazy. He's going to work hard. He's going to bust his ass. He's going to learn the offense. And if you have guys behind him, we said this yesterday, right? Like if you got guys behind him, like Saunders, like Cutter, you basically you basically want someone who's going to be that mentor. He's got one season. He's a very mature kid. His stats do jump off the page from last year, even the year before. I think that if you look at the guys remaining, I think that was probably, and look, the more I read and look and everything, I like it. I don't dislike it. I'm willing to give it a chance. I think he probably fits better than Murphy. Excuse me. I think Murphy was more flashy.
Better than Murphy.
Yeah, listen, I think Murphy was more flashy, but if you look at our O-line being redone, if you look at, the O-line, if you look at the running back, you throw Dowdell in here, you throw Law in here, the offense all of a sudden, I think, looks completely different. You've got a 1-2 punch combo in the running back. Then you've also got Patterson, who's looked really good when he's been healthy. You've got Calzado, who can burn you with his legs. He throws a really nice deep ball. He's pretty accurate in stuff that I've seen. He's never thrown more than 9 interceptions.
73.5% adjusted completion percentage last year,
which is good,
which is much higher than Murphy's was.
The other part about that is that he's good with his legs. He seems like he has really good pocket presence as well, which I like. Like he seems like he
the
knows
incarnate word, him like running around. There's a little bit of like the Caleb Williams stuff where he just kind of turns his back and flips around and does all sorts of crazy stuff. But he only takes sacks on 12% of his snaps. And they played in an air raid offense. Like he was not getting hit or sacked or anything. Like he was getting rid of the ball and evading very well.
And the thing that I'll say is we could talk about the SEC and everything. Throwing darts, it doesn't matter where you're at. Like you got to have talent to throw darts, kind of no matter where you are. So I think he's got talent in him. I think there's enough weapons around him to do that. I think the offensive line is going to be good enough to open holes. I think we're going to probably run the ball a lot. I think you're going to see a 3-headed monster with Calzada running, with Dowdell, with, that's assuming Dowdell comes. I know that there's also the reason why I'm saying that is because I think 247 also put in a crystal ball for him at 100%. So I think that the offense has got some nice pieces around it, like, and the other thing about Calzada, he's a mature kid. He's played a lot of college football. We're not going to see anything that he hasn't seen. He's not going to go into an opposing stadium and get rattled, right? Like those are the things I like. We just got to see if it works. Look, we're going to know. This is what I would tell the fan base. Like, I think what we've put together is fairly good. I think the other pieces that we've got coming is fairly good. I really would like the Kent State end. He's really highly coveted. I really would like him
Yeah.
to get
Cameron
here.
Olds is his name.
Cameron
He's
Olds, yeah.
they're one
I
of the worst football teams I've ever seen in my entire life, but he was good. He was the only
very
player on the
very
team.
good. He's got 4 SEC offers already, more coming. I
He's
would
visiting Ole
assume.
Miss
I would really like
tomorrow.
Jamal Jarrett. Um, I think maybe there's another couple guys that might emerge, but I really like that. I would like that move. If you could get somebody like a Jarrett and an Olds, I think then you sprinkle in some other pieces, and this team's good. I think they're really working on a tackle. I don't know who it is. I just know that they're working at a tackle because Unamba I think really would be a huge upgrade at a guard position. Um, but I mean, he's never allowed a sack. So, um, uh, Wesley said, I'm
Yeah,
not being negative, but Dowdell lost his job the last 5 games at Nebraska. Hardy would have been huge. I don't think Dowdell lost his job. I don't think Dowdell was the feature back for Nebraska, was he?
um, he was the leading rusher for Nebraska.
He also had 12
Attempts
touchdowns.
his attempts did not go down throughout the season. I mean, he had a 20 rush. His to end the year, he had 14, 17, 8, 10, 13. So, I mean, that was pretty consistent with his whole season. But I know the new coordinator preferred the other guys. He preferred Hogerson didn't like the big. He's not a big of a
He's not a
fan of
big
like
back
he's not.
guy.
Yeah, he's not like the 6'2", 220. Like he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
So that's why he's out of the in the transfer portal. So
143 carries. I mean, that's a decent amount of carries.
he was. I mean, it was 100% by committee. They had another guy
Yeah,
that ran a lot. I can't remember his
Nebraska wasn't
name.
like a one back system.
No, and that's not what he's going to be in here. I mean, Jamarion Wilcox is
Mm-mm.
unreliable at best, but he's really good.
I don't.
So
Well, hold on. Let's be fair to the kid. He was a freshman. He needed to learn his stuff, right?
I'm talking about football wise. I mean, the fumble numbers and um, just you know, there were a couple good play. There were flashes. Roush said that on Lone Personnel. There were flashes, and I agree with that. But there were a lot of
Yeah.
times where he missed it.
Yeah. Oh, look, listen. He made a lot of freshman mistakes. I think. But the talent's there, and if he progresses, I like where we're at. I like the fact that Dowdell has 12 touchdowns, 600 and some odd yards, right, 140 carries under his belt. I think that it's like that's the thing that Kentucky struggled with last season was inside the red zone, inside the 10, inside the 5. And I think what Dowdell brings is a ton of experience into that, right? Like he's going to bring that toughness and that physicality to go get those 2 or 3 yards when you need to score. And that
I
can
think.
that alone can win you 2 or 3 games.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we could score in the red, if we were number 35 in the red zone instead of 100 and whatever we would have we would be playing next week probably. But to me, the fact that Wilcox is still on the team tells me that it's going to be okay because they got rid of all the culture problems. Like they have flipped like everyone that was causing problems and stuff like that. They're flipping it. They're not doing that this year. Just
Yeah.
from what we've seen.
Wesley said
So
hopefully Patterson steps up as well. He looked good in limited action. He got hurt, right? Like I think he got
yeah,
hurt like second or third game of the year. Yeah, I love Patterson. I think Patterson's great, but like Patterson and Wilcox, one of the things that they both need to do is improve on their pass catching, run blocking. But that can also come with another year in the
pass
system
pro
and
especially.
learning and right. Jason said Wilcox needs to be improved in pass protection in the offseason. I 100% agree. Like that is probably one of the number one things that we would talk about in terms of why he probably didn't play as much as we maybe
People
some of the
wanted.
fans would have hoped, um, because um, because of that, right? That was a big reason why he didn't play a lot because of the not understanding the offense.
Yeah, but with improvements at tackles and interior, especially in pass pro, with a better blocking tight end now in Henry Boyer, that's another part of the red zone situation. You need 4th and 1 or
Well, he's a
third
big boy,
third and
isn't
goal
he?
from the 2. Guess who's going to be in there? It's going to be him
That
and Caddis, and then they're going to be running people over.
That is a
Like,
big boy. That is
yeah,
a
yeah.
big
Like
boy.
6', 270. He caught 3 passes in 2 years of playing time at Illinois, and he doesn't give a dang about catching the ball. He's there to hit
None.
people.
He loves to hit people.
He is
I
yeah,
mean, he's
he's awesome.
basically an offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's the 247 scouting report for his, like, high school, it said, "Totally could move to could move to tackle." Like, this would be a very easy transition if he just wanted to be a
It
tackle.
he'd have to put on
Um
about 30 pounds, but
He'd need
yes.
a lot of pounds, but I like him as that big blocking tight end. But like that's a rotational piece, a situational piece, the kind of thing they didn't have last year, right? This is all of the holes that they didn't have. They didn't have the bruiser because Chip got hurt. They didn't have the blocking tight end. They didn't have the slot guy that could run but also block and make things happen on inside and get some of those zone plays working a little better if the receivers can hold up on the outside in those screens. They filling in the gaps that they lost when they went and got all the 4 stars that could do the fun things on highlights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, like some people might say, "Oh, you're sunshine pumping everything." Okay, like look, at the end of the day, you got to go out and prove it. But I like the change, right? And I know yesterday, and look, you guys can jump in and keep jumping in the comments if you want. Um, I like the difference in approach from what we've done, to this. I mean, I you can tell that they're going and looking at dudes that have, something to prove or, has played a lot of football. They listen, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe look, you have one side that's maybe 100% right. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe we win 3 or 4 games and maybe it's a disaster. But maybe we don't. Maybe we have, maybe we have a complete flip and maybe we have a really good season and we're competitive. I can see both sides of the coin and I actually think both arguments are fair. Though one thing I would just say is give it a chance. Like be cautiously optimistic. You don't have to
My
just, you don't have to be excited if you don't want to be, but just be optimistic.
my thinking with off seasons and I may be separating it too much, but I separate the off season acquisitions from the season. It's the same thing I think for drafts. Just because a player doesn't work doesn't mean it wasn't the right pick. Like you can have the right pick and it doesn't work. Things happen like that. Like it happens all the time. Like there are good players who for whatever reason don't work. Whether it's scheme, something happens, whatever, an injury, whatever. You make the right additions at the time. Right now they're making the right additions. Braun, Wolschlager, Unamba are those are good additions. Those are upgrades at the positions we have.
Looks like
Um
Wibberley is going to probably be another one. That
I
looks
mean,
like that
yeah.
looks like we're pretty confident. So there's your fourth. And
Yeah.
if we can get if we can get a tackle in, and depending on who it is, it could be a
There are
very very
also
good line.
There are also 8 more teams in the playoffs than have ever been in the playoffs as far as the transfer portal goes. Plus, a lot of the NIL deals go through December. So that like when it gets to January, like post playoff time and that second portal window opens up, there's going to be a whole rush of players whose NIL deals
There's
didn't
going to be a whole lot. Listen, there's going to be a whole rush
that-
of players between tomorrow night or between Saturday and probably Monday. From,
yeah,
there's
playoff.
there's what 4 teams that are going to go out between now and Saturday night, and you're going to see guys leave, and
There was a
that's going to
story
be
there was a story that one of the playoff teams were paying their players to not enter the portal till after the playoffs so that they could have
yeah.
enough bodies to practice. Whatever
Wesley
that's doing, I
said,
don't know.
aren't you more concerned with the defensive line? No Walker and Silver. The scheme requires us to have it. So I'm more concerned about depth. I look, look. Here's the thing. I don't think we're in a bad position, but we're in a position also where we got to add guys because if we don't, we're like you got Josiah Hayes, you got Kendrick Gilbert, and you've got
I could see the
Son
name too. Yeah,
San
Tavia Gadsden
San
and Saunders.
Sanders.
Yeah,
Saunders, sorry. Tavian Gatson, do we still have him?
I thought so. Did he enter the portal? All the
I
names
don't
have
remember.
entered the portal, and they're all throwing me off. I know we got 2 more into
Yeah.
the portal, like, in the last couple of days. Dylan Ray and, Kobe Keenum are
Yeah.
the center. But so, if you're looking for a sign on Wibberley, Kobe Keenum being in the portal,
There's your sign.
it's
I'm
not a
not
secret.
I'm not concerned yet. Because I think we're gonna address the position. Obviously, that's we've got some guys that we're talking to. Jarrett's supposed to come on a visit at some point. Um,
The Wyoming guy, they made
the
contact with
Wyoming
the
guy's
Louis with the
visiting now or
Louisiana Tech
something.
guy.
Yeah, so there's a guys that we're talking to. I've seen, I don't remember if it was Roland or Roush or one of those guys said that David Blay, the nose tackle from Louisiana Tech, we might talk to. I don't remember. I don't. That wasn't
There
a.
was a
That's
report of
not a.
contact.
That's not a source thing. That was, I read it somewhere. Which he's a good a top rated kind of guy
I like Blay.
in the portal. I think what they're trying to do is realize that there's certain positions that they really have to beef up on. Defensive end is one, because if you go in with your top three guys being like Saunders, Josiah Hayes is a big boy. He's played a lot of football. He's really good.
He's the
You
starting
go
nose
in with
tackle.
like Hayes, Saunders, and Gilbert, and they're really high on Gilbert, and he showed flashes of being very good, and he's going to put on more weight this offseason, right? But you really improve on the edges. We've already got Sam Green. If we can get one or two more edges in, I think that's where you take some pressure off the nose tackle a little bit. We haven't had that pure pass rusher, obviously, and then we've got Young coming back from injury. So am I concerned? Not yet. It could be a concern if we don't address it, but I believe we will.
Yeah, they definitely need at least one, if not two, bodies on the defensive line outside of the edge position. Which, if Cameron Olds wants to be involved with that, I'll take it because he can pass rush, and they desperately need the go-to pass rusher. And the JJ Weaver run stopper thing was good, but I'm ready
Gadsden,
to
yeah,
see
he's
quarterbacks
back.
hit the ground. I'm ready to
Tavian
see the quarterbacks hit
Gadsden,
the ground again.
Tavian Gadsden should be here as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So I mean,
they
you've
still have
got
Hawks and Ribka, right?
Kendrick Gilbert, who's 6'5". He's probably going to be right around 300 pounds this
Gilbert's
season.
the like 5 tech. That's what Dion was like typically playing when there were no Hayes injuries and things like that.
Yeah, and look, he's going to be a sophomore.
3 tech,
You've
5 tech.
got Hayes, who will be a senior. You've got Gadsden, who will be a sophomore. He'll be over 300 pounds. He's a big boy too. He's 6'5". You got Saunders, who's a big boy, 6'5". He'll be a senior. So I think you've got plenty of guys that can do it, but I think you need to go get at least one, just to make
Yep.
sure that you're where you need to be.
Mm-hmm. And they moved Austin Ramsey to defensive tackle and left him there. So a full season of development there. I'll say excited. I don't know what to think of it, but I'm excited by it. I remember watching him a couple times when he would go in. When I noticed it a couple times, especially that Louisville game, he was hopping off the ball pretty quick. He was getting after it a little bit. There's something. There's a little bit of something there. I don't know if it's full. I don't know if it's all the way there, but rotationally.
What would we call a successful season next season? I feel like if we get to 7 wins, we will be really good, a really good team, especially our schedule. So I think you need to try and find a way to get to 7. I think 7 would probably be enough. And I'm going to say this with a caveat. I think 7 with being really close in the other 5 that you lose.
I don't even want to put a number on it, to be honest. I think I just want to see a good culture. Number one, I can't find a way to get my hand on this little screen now. I I want to see the culture be improved. I want to see the players playing all
Is that
12
better?
of the games.
Is that better for
Yeah,
you?
I get that. One, I want the culture to improve, and I just want it to look like a normal football operation. Like I don't need all the drama and the extra stuff and people getting a bunch of penalties and all that stuff, and the defensive line sitting there watching sometimes. Like I just the buyout's still too much next year. I want to see improvement. And if Calzada's
Look,
a holdover quarterback and it's improvement before we can get to Cutter and Stone, then he's a holdover quarterback. That's fine. Just be better. Show me that
I think you
internally
got
things
to
are okay.
get to the postseason again, like build, right? I
Yeah,
think the fan
obviously, yeah.
base, look, I think the fan base understands that we have a brutal schedule. If you win 6, I think if you win 6, but you have a fun year, right? Like you're taking, like, let's say Texas, I've said this a couple times. Texas comes in, you take them to the wire, you take, right? Whoever those 6, that mixture of 6 is, if you like taking like the really good teams and maybe you're losing those games, but you really play them really, really hard. And someone might say, well, I don't want that. I want to win. I get that. But like if let's say we're in a transition year of rebuilding like some of the culture and stuff, it's a reset year. I think you have to win 6. I think if you don't go to a bowl game, I think it's really like if you don't go to a bowl game, you start to get into some territory that's dangerous.
I think where I'm at, and first of all, let us know how many wins you think a successful season would be. Put that in the comments real quick.
Yeah,
I want
you
to see kind
guys
of
let
what
us know what
people are
you guys
thinking.
think about that.
Um,
Um, Jason says Stoops has generally been good with his back against the wall. He knows it, and he will do all he can. I think Stoops knows that he has to make a big shift.
to
Um,
me,
I
people always say that there's no tanking in college football because obviously there's no pick or reward for being bad, which I agree with. But the season going like worst case scenario, like really bad, might have been like it's not getting the first overall pick, but it like woke everybody up. This was
mhm.
like if they had got 6 or 7, they could have kept doing the same thing, but it went bad. And there's a little bit of like, oh, we're gonna have to go get some money. We're gonna have to tell some people, like, have some hard conversations, tell some people to leave, like the things that we don't want to do, but they have to do. And to their credit, from what I can tell, they're doing it so far. And maybe it took a wake up for them to get the whole program to get aligned and serious about NIL and who they're going after and how they approach the portal and things of that nature. Coach continuity thing, all the things that go on internally.
Why is this like? I don't know why this force quit stuff is jumping on my screen right now. Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so let's you want to switch to Hester?
Hester, yeah, we talk about Hester.
Go for it. I was letting you run with it.
Yeah, Hester is obviously started his career 4-star. Went to Missouri to start. Transferred to Oklahoma. He had connections with the Damian Washington. He has connections with Bush, Macklin. I kind of talked about those. He's a big old 6'3", a little skinny at 6'4", actually he's listed. A little skinny. The numbers aren't there, and he was a backup at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma had all their wide receiver injuries and things of that nature. Um, but he had quality games against these teams. Like he had 50 yards against Missouri on one catch. This is the kind of thing he does. That's a deep post where he ran past a safety at 6'4". He had a 60-yard bomb against Auburn to complete their comeback when they were down 11 in the fourth quarter. Finished that game with 86 yards on 3 catches. Like that is the kind of thing that you could be looking for. The kind of guy that can hit a go route and then maybe a short crosser or something in a game. Like this is not the best player on the team. This is not the best player in the receiving room. This is a special body type that fits the kinds of things they want to do. Like this guy can run that deep crosser that they got Dane on a couple times. One cut where he can just go out and run a curl, use his long arms, get the ball on, 3rd and 7 or something like that. Like that's the kind of things that they missed last year because people couldn't get off, and Dane could do it, but Dane had to do so much in that receiving room because they wouldn't look at Macklin, and we know how I feel about the other one. as far as being out there as in the wide receiver position. So it to me it's hopefully a backup option. I still hope they have one more, like more of a physical X, more of the Dane Horatio. I said that earlier. That kind of mold. Nazim Hunter from California. He's probably committed by now to somewhere big, but
Yeah, he just committed to Nebraska today.
oh yeah, they're throwing money at everybody. But
So Texas Tech is throwing money at everyone.
oh, Texas, I'm in love with Texas Tech's recruiting.
My
I want to go
goodness.
in and look at it. Like they got one of the tackles. I can't remember. Oh, they got the Howard Sampson from North Carolina. I liked that guy. I was hoping that we would get him. And they got Pollock from Mississippi State. That guy rocks. When we
They
reached
got
out
a
to him,
lot
I
of
was so
money. They got
excited.
one guy that gave their football program 25 million.
That's what you need for that'll pay for a season
I
if you
mean,
want to
it's just
be
the way it
in the
is,
playoff.
man. Like I don't. Yeah, I mean, listen. If you want to rebuild your team real quick, you got one person that comes in and gives you a bucket. It can do it. I mean, we're in a whole new era. Like I really hope, from the NIL perspective, we have something with contracts or something at some point because this is kind of
Dang,
ridiculous.
I was hoping
But
that I was hoping that Kitley was still going to be there. That was at Western with Zappy when they set all those records. That was Zach Kitley was the OC, and he was at Texas Tech last year. I was hoping he was still there, but he's not. He's a head coach now. So FAU,
What
watch out for some offense.
True Blue podcast said I think 6 to 7 is good and 8 is really good. Wesley said 6 and 6 is bare minimum, but they will go 4 and 8 at best next year. Jason said, given the schedule, 6 tolerable, 7 good, 8 plus great. I don't buy the narrative that we're just going to go 4 and 8. I don't look. I maybe we do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I mean, look, like we're not gonna.
I'm not following him.
We're not gonna be like miles off Louisville. I still don't think we're gonna be horrendously miles off Florida. I mean, look, Florida has a lot of upside and they could kick it into gear. I like playing them here in November.
Florida's got a very they could really get after it if they wanted to. Like this is the time where they have the superstar. They need to be all in. And they're recruiting. Napier is killing it on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, but
Their
it's all
recruiting is
freshmen,
awesome.
and he's not doing it in the portals. They're not killing it in.
Not as much, but he's been killing it for 3 years in the recruiting classes. So like at this point,
Yeah,
so
but Florida's done that for all the time, and they just never comes through.
well,
I don't know why.
Even when they're good, they do that too. But
Look,
I'm just
the
saying,
thing
like
is that
they can hit a
Lagway,
couple.
like Lagway is the thing. Like they have a quarterback that can do it.
They have a superstar.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does. But I don't think they're unbeatable. I don't think Vandy's going to be that good. I mean, Vandy went 6 and 6. So I mean, that's not a game where you feel like you can't win that game. So look, I think there's plenty of games on the schedule where Kentucky's going to be, have a shot to win. Maybe they go 4 and 8, maybe they go 8 and 4. I think. So I said I think the floor for the team next year would be 5 and 7, and the ceiling would be 8 and 4. That was kind of my.
I think I'd go one more in both directions. They could. I mean, they could, but like that's like worst case scenarios. They go 4 and 8 kind of thing.
If they get a lot, I'm saying if we bring the guys in and we don't get a lot of injuries, there you go. It's going to be interesting because if they can beat Ole Miss in week 2, everything changes.
Have we figured out who Ole Miss's quarterback is yet? Or is it going to be someone that they already had?
No.
Like just a recruit or something?
They haven't gotten one, have they?
I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but there's so many transfer portal news and so much Kentucky news that I miss things.
I can't keep up with like hardly anything, to be honest with you.
Like I know Keyshawn Silver committed to USC after traveling the world.
Weird. I thought he was going to go to Florida.
I thought he would too.
I really thought he was going to end up in Florida.
Well, Lincoln Riley came in and said, I know you want to go to Florida, but Los Angeles.
Listen, USC's lost a lot of dudes.
They did, but they got money. They'll have the ability to bring people in.
I saw something really interesting about like USC, UCLA, like some of those teams, and said how at some point somebody's going to figure out like taxes and the transfer portal and how to exploit that with, California having unreal taxes and Florida does, and Tennessee and Kentucky, right? Lower taxes, which is basically the whole SEC. And then you've got like Ohio, and I think Pennsylvania is pretty reasonable. So, someone's going to like find that aspect in the transfer portal. I think it's going to be really good. Like that's going to be something that they're going to really push.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to consider with such a variability across the different states, and especially with big programs in states that have and don't have income taxes and things of that nature. Like that'll greatly change your number, and a lot of people my age wouldn't notice. I mean, honestly, if you gave me offers from different schools, I wouldn't first think, oh, what's the state income tax? And I'm the age of these guys, you know what I mean? That would not be my first thought. So I know it's not a lot of their first thoughts.
What about, all right, question for you.
Yeah.
Wesley said they could lose to Toledo in game 1. I'm not even joking. If that happens, they're not going to lose to Toledo in game 1. Like
Toledo's scary. They're so scary.
They're
I've
not
been saying that for
scary.
like a week, like 2 weeks now. Toledo's a little
They're
scary.
not going to lose to Toledo. Come on, like like people think that we've all of a sudden become like a JV like
Well,
franchise. I just
Toledo
don't
Toledo
understand
can
it.
beat
I
good
mean, I know
teams.
we had a
Like,
shitty season, but like we didn't just all of a sudden not become an SEC, school with a good amount of young talent and bringing in
yeah,
guys,
a
that can play
team
ball.
a team is hosting a playoff game and they lost to Northern Illinois though. Like if there's a
Yeah,
good
exactly.
G5 team like that, which Toledo should be a good G5 team, like they can beat good teams in a game. Like Toledo, it's not like the last couple years we played some pretty trash
Yeah, but
small
Toledo's
schools.
also had like a lot of seniors and they lost a lot of guys.
Yeah, but they're consistently good. Obviously, we don't know what their roster is, but we still don't know what our roster is. If they don't have a left tackle, my number is going to go way down.
We'll
We
get a
think they
left
will,
tackle.
but I think
We
they'll
will.
get. Uh,
Um, True Blue Podcast said, "What
yeah,
do you think about Ball State wide receiver transfer portal originally?"
Justin Borwick.
Oh yeah, no,
All of
he
his
committed? No. I think he's talking about the guy that was originally committed to Kentucky. He's from Troy, right?
That's Devontae Ross. That guy was
Yeah,
so good in high school. He was like a
Y-
low 3-star, and I thought he was awesome. Freddie Maggard
yeah,
loved
but
him.
he
I
went to
think he's
Troy,
talking about
right?
Borwick. Yeah, he went to
No, he
Troy.
said that originally committed to Kentucky. So I think he might have mixed up Ball State and Troy. If it was who originally committed to Kentucky using the transfer portal, that's the guy from Troy. If it's not, and it is the Ball State wide receiver, that's Bowick. So if you want to kind of tell us which one you're actually talking about, we might be able to answer your question better.
I would take both. I mean,
I don't know if we're going to bring in
Devontae
another
Ross was
wide
1,000.
receiver.
What Devontae Ross was all Sunbelt this year. Had over 1,000 yards. I think double-digit touchdowns, and he was originally committed to us. I mean, I would have liked it, but
He couldn't
they have
qualify, right?
that's like that's kind of Macklin's position, and they're not going to kick him out.
Bowick
I can't find
has.
his stupid name.
I just feel like Bowick doesn't is like might be surplus now if we got Hester, unless
Nah,
we're going to
he's the
bring in
X.
another receiver, which I would be shocked about. Would you be shocked if we
Bowick would be
brought
that
another receiver in now?
on top of Law. No, I'd like one more. I'd like the
If
true X.
like let's say Law's the guy that we bring in, and you got Law and Hester, are we bringing anyone else in?
I would like one more X. I would like a Bowick or a like I keep going back to like they need the Dane replacement. Like Hester's not he's the size of a Dane receiver, but he's not that style of receiver. I would still like that one more of that style. Like even if it's just red zone, throw it up. Like I don't know if Hester is the red zone guy as much as a deep threat size
I don't know,
guy.
but can we make the tight end the Renzo guy? Just let him go out wide. I mean, who's going to body him off the ball?
Nobody,
Yeah, you said
nobody is
my
going
fault.
to
The
do
guy
it.
from Troy. Yeah, he's
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
Devontae Ross is a dog. If they, he's going to go somewhere probably pretty good.
I don't think he's going to come here just because of who
No,
we've got in that position. But
no,
listen, you never
that's
know.
Macklin.
Well,
But
also Gilmore can play that position too.
yeah, 100%. It's
I'm I don't feel
Gilmore's
like
done for
if we land Law, I'm not mad about our wide receiver room.
you would be banking on the Hester evaluation being really good going from I forgot how many yards he put
I think
like
people underestimate how
going
good
Kentucky good.
Macklin's going to be.
No, that's potentially true, but Bowick was hurt most of the year and played the last 4 games. He had 383 yards in 4 games.
But he also has big offers from like Penn State.
Mostly out wide. Yeah, but like we're talking about, we don't have superstars and they have the foundation. They need the guys. Like this is where you go spend your money. Like if you saved a little bit, you went and got 300-yard Law who has other offers. He's not going to be a cheap, but like you went and got Hester, who's a relationship. Like you have a bunch of relationships with him. You got Wolfschlager and Braun. Like these are guys that didn't cost a ton to get high level production. If you're gonna go all in, and you want to go get a star, like the Ball State guy has a chance to be that kind of guy. Now, he may not. Obviously, injury problems are a concern. But I mean, the last 2 games of the season, he had 8 receptions for 171 yards and 7 receptions for 148 yards, 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. Like when he's healthy, he is a real player. 500 yards in 2023 at Eastern
I
Illinois.
I think they landed Hester. Look, I don't know. This is just
Hester could
I
be that
just
guy. I just
well,
if I was going,
I'm just speculating on this, right? Hester could be, safety net to make sure we don't. Maybe there's another guy that comes in. I think they're going to focus on locking up Law first. If not, maybe you see a Bowick or somebody like that come in. But I think they'll try and lock Law up first.
I want both.
Then I think they'll try and lock up Dowdell. And then I think on the offense, it's like, is there another guy that can come in and be a difference maker? I don't know. And then I think you're just going to see a lot of focus on the defense and getting the tackle. But my gut says that offense is, like, again, assuming Dowdell is a lock, assuming Law is a lock. I think the only offensive addition you're probably going to look at is left tackle, and then you're basically all on defensive watch.
Yeah, if they finish offense with Law, Dowdell, another tight end because they need bodies. Not it doesn't even need to be a starter, but they only have 4 tight ends get hurt so much. They need 5, maybe 6, and they have scholarships to play with right now. So, and then obviously a left tackle, and then I would like one more X receiver. And if they were able to do that with a Bowick or somebody that style, like I would feel really good about the offensive on paper. Like the roster would look good, and it would look like it fits, and it would look like it fits Hamden's scheme. I would be excited with all that. Don't get an X. I'd be cautiously optimistic, banking on the evaluation of Hester from them, like having coached and played with him. But then you could start picking dudes off on defense because, I mean, the offense would be done, and that's not far off.
I'm excited to see what we do on the defensive side, because if we can get some dogs on the defensive side, that's where ultimately, like, right, like, even if your offense is decent, but you can stop the other team from scoring, you instantly become a better team. So, but look, we can't have an offense that scores only 20.
They got to
20
pass
points a
20
game.
in an SEC game or a Power 4 game. They got to pass 20.
Well, hopefully a really nice thing would be going into the Ole Miss game, and at halftime, it's like we got 24 on the board or something. That would be nice. So,
Relief.
so question, not football or sports related. Have you seen the new Superman trailer?
I have not seen the new Superman trailer. I never got into the superhero movies. I did a little Spider-Man action when I was a kid. I seen, I think 2 of the Thors because they're funny.
Bro,
at least some parts, but
we can't be friends
like,
anymore.
oh well. I feel like I hear that like once a week on this
Can't
show.
be friends anymore. It's crazy. How not a superhero guy? Man,
During our next watch
Superman's like
along
my favorite.
at halftime we're gonna drink a cup of coffee and watch a superhero movie instead of catching up with the stats and stuff. And
Buddy,
that's how we're gonna spend our time.
I actually feel like that's like on my bucket list before I die, is to sit and watch a superhero movie and drink coffee with you.
I think a lot of people have that on their bucket list. I'm just that kind of
I feel like it. Like, I still don't understand how you don't drink coffee. Like, that blows my mind. That's number one. Like, I feel like that's scary. Like, people are saying the aliens have come. Like, that's like it. Like, do you just like boil like from the inside if you drink coffee, or like just start combusting? Like, I don't understand.
No, I just don't really like it. Like their things taste better than coffee.
Do you like hot tea?
No, I'd rather drink a coffee than a tea. Like I could drink a coffee. Like I would be fine. I just would rather get something else. I just never order it.
It's
Like
fair.
if I'm gonna get a drink, I'm like I'd rather if I need to pick up an energy, I'd rather drink like an energy drink or something like that um than drinking coffee. Like they taste better. Now coffee's way better for me, obviously.
So I'd say tomorrow we're on watch for Dowdell. We're on watch for Law, for like an official.
I feel like I've been
I
sitting
think
on watch for them for like a year.
You might be on Old's watch. I don't know if he's here now.
I feel like we're
weekend.
on Wibberly watch.
So let's just say between now, like say between today and Monday. I think
And the basketball game.
Well, hold on. We're going to talk about basketball tomorrow. I'm talking about football transfers.
I was going to say like between now and the basketball game, like between now and
no,
Saturday
now and Monday, because there's visits coming that'll be over the weekend. So I'd say Dowdell is one you got to look for. Law, maybe Olds. I don't have any info, but he's coming, so
He'll be
maybe.
at he'll be at Ole Miss tomorrow, and then Lexington Saturday. So
Yeah.
maybe, but
So
probably not yet
um,
because he's gonna be a bidding war.
maybe the defensive tackle from Wyoming. I forgot his name.
I don't remember his name
Um,
either. I'd say Wibberley is on commit
and
watch
then
by next Monday.
Wibberley. Look, I think Wibberley's pretty much a lock, but
Wibberley's on commit watch like right now.
yeah, he visits tomorrow. I think is when he's here, right?
He's still
His
on commit watch.
Yeah, he's still on commit watch. Like, so you've got these. These are the ones I think you got to pay attention to. Obviously, there could be somebody that comes out of the blue that we don't know about. I mean, look, we don't know every player that they're talking to. We know of some, but I think that those are the players that we know of that you should pay attention to. And really see what happens, man. Like, I'm excited. I think that this is going to be a really solid class. I think there's going to be enough there that will lead for optimism. And look, no matter what people want to say, I'll give Stoops, Wolford, Vince, White, I'll give them credit in the aspect of that this is clearly a plan, right? This is
The
not a
process
panic.
is so much better this year.
I agree. They're clearly going for a type of player, bigger, physical, experience, character, right? You can tell all those things. And like some people might see some of these guys that are flashy and go, well, why don't we do this and do that? And maybe there's evaluations on character and they might go, look, I'd rather go get this guy and see if he makes a little jump. I think they're playing on the culture is going to lead to improvement in some aspects to where if a guy's close, maybe one's evaluation is a little higher, he played at a bigger school, but maybe he's got a little baggage that could come with him. I think they're going to go for the other guy. And I like that. I think that that's what they need to do. That's re-getting the identity that Kentucky had, like, look, a lot of people forget Jason Allen was like a zero not Jason Allen. Josh Allen
Josh, there it is.
was a 0-star.
It's a
And I think
Dartmouth
he turned
commit.
out okay. Do what?
He was a Dartmouth commit until signing day, I believe, or something like that. Delaware or something. I think it was Dartmouth. That's where he was committed to before he flipped to us. So, but obviously, you don't even have to totally worry about that because they're getting all conference guys. They're just going and
I
stacking all
mean,
conference guys.
we're not bringing dudes in that are not good. I mean, they're bringing in dudes that have a lot of experience look, I think whatchamacallit, uh Olds, I
Maybe.
think he was like one of the top, like one of the MAC players on defense too. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Let's give him a gander. Let's look at the actual numbers here on Olds. It's something ridiculous. Cameron Olds, Kent State, 6'4", 240 as an edge rusher.
Freak.
Then we'll get to defense. Yeah, defense. We have
He had 42 tackles. He had
29 pressures in 235 pass rush snaps.
he
That
had
is
um he had 6
11%.
sacks. Huh?
I think it's 11% pass pressure rate.
Which is pretty good.
We're very good.
He had 42 tackles, 25 solo tackles, 17 assisted, but that's not, I mean, on the line you get a lot of assisted tackles. 6 sacks. He had an interception as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, yeah, that's a legit guy.
he has got the physical traits. He's 264, 245. He'll probably come here and be like 6'4", 255. So I like it. I like if we can get him. I really like where our edges are. I think we probably need to still get another one for depth. And then we need
Yeah.
at least one tackle. And then I'd like to see us maybe bring in. I'd like to see us bring in another linebacker. I just don't
I
know
would
if
as
we're
well.
gonna. I just don't know if we're gonna.
I just think that that's down on the priority list right now. Once they fill in, like they have big gaps, even ones that are assumed to have been filled at this point,
Yeah,
they still have
yeah.
big
They got
gaps.
to get him, and then
Left tackle is
yeah,
a big gap. They need a left tackle desperately. But once they fill in the big gaps, the stuff they need to have a budget for, then
yeah.
they can spend the rest of their money on, backups, or they might somebody like Pop Dumas Johnson came out late when they decided not to pay him at Georgia. They decided to pay the freshman instead. And he popped at the very end of the transfer portal cycle. Like that's going to happen when they get to the negotiating table with these teams before next season.
Yeah, and look, we might get a guy like that pops over here, right?
If they already have the holes filled with the guys early on, and they know their budget, they can say, "All right, we have 2 guys we can spend X amount of money on. Let's go get our 2 best players,
How
or
shocked?
let's go get a starter."
How shocked were you that Clemson got a player in the transfer
I was
portal?
about to say that Dabo went and got not only a transfer portal player, the number 1 player in the portal. Maybe he's not the number 1 player, the number 1 edge in the portal. He just went and got the best one when he decided to start. They got like some random guy on offense.
He's gonna be like a vegetarian the first time he has steak, and he's just gonna keep eating it.
Oh, Dabo's gonna have the number 1 transfer portal class next year when when the Purdue guy has 17 sacks next year.
It's gonna be nuts. All right, man. Tomorrow we'll talk more basketball. We'll talk about the Ohio State game coming up. We'll get into that a little bit. Our shows are gonna be hot and heavy basketballs here in about probably in what 12 days.
Next
it's gonna be
another
nuts.
football week, and then after that it starts basketball.
Yeah. The portal closed down obviously at the end of December. And then you'll have a quiet period, and then you'll have one more round, but that's not going to be until April, I believe. And then we'll be having fun because we'll be talking about basketball transfer portal and football transfer portal at the same time.
There will also be coach firings, which will make the transfer portal open up for some players. Some bowl game firings, some potentially like a
usually though. Usually,
but if Ryan Day were to if Ohio State were to open, that's going to send a massive shockwave. I mean, that's going to be
massive exodus.
That's going to be 10 coaches.
If they lose, you're going to. I think that happens. I don't know who they get.
If you want the transfer portal to open up with a bunch of really good players, it sounds really awful, but you're going to have to root for Tennessee.
Dude, listen, I'm just going
to say want Ohio State to lose this game if you want a bunch of good players to enter the portal.
I'll say this. And if you want a team in your, I think we compete with Ohio State almost more than Tennessee with some guys.
The good ones.
So that could also be a positive. We talk a lot of shit about Tennessee. If they take over the horseshoe on Saturday, you got to be at least impressed. I can't believe the tickets are going for what they're going for.
I hate Tennessee
Ohio
fans
State
with
is asking to be invaded.
I hate Tennessee fans with a passion. I mean, they are by far unequivocally the worst people.
Horrible.
But I will never, ever say that they are not a good fan base because they are awesome as a fan base.
They're going to.
Just as far as following the team, traveling, everywhere they go with them.
I think tomorrow night
they are very similar to us.
Top tier. I do think tomorrow night might sneakily be one of the best games tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a Friday night in the snow is going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun.
You want to do it tomorrow night? We can do a watch along tomorrow night, right?
I'm busy tomorrow night. I can't do anything. I can't even do this tomorrow night, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. All right, guy. All right. Appreciate everyone for jumping on and watching. We will hopefully be back tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, if Jaden can't be on, we'll get Rando or somebody to jump in. So appreciate it, and go Cats, and see what happens tomorrow in the portal.
Yeah, give us a follow if you enjoyed the show, and get us on Twitter if you have any more comments.
Yep, appreciate it. Have a good